Sonic the Hedgehog, one of gaming's biggest icons. I reckon if I showed 70% of the world's population this blue hedgehog, they'd know who he is. He has been around for years, running through tropical islands, San Francisco, other planets, the end of the world, you name it, he's been there. He has done a lot ever since his creation in 1991, so much so that he's left a massive impact on the lives of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. One of those people, you guessed it, is me. In case you didn't know or couldn't tell by the title of the video, I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I have done ever since I was born. But publicly, I don't really talk about Sonic all that often, despite how impactful the series is on me. Sure, I might mention something occasionally, but I usually avoid long tangents as I have seen time and time again how that sort of stuff really doesn't interest people. So, today, I thought I'd talk about all those tangents I wish I could go on every time I ever talk about Sonic. And boy, is there a lot of them. So, let's talk about why I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, first of all, it's probably important to clarify what I mean by Sonic the Hedgehog, because I mean a lot, but the best way to quickly summarize it is the series as a whole. Every single thing that goes into this franchise is what I love, and I'll delve into different things bit by bit, as some things are more obvious than others. So, let's get into the more surface level stuff first. I am a child of the 2000s, so while I may not have been born while Sonic was running through Green Hill Zone for the first of many times, I would say I was born around virtually the perfect time to be a Sonic fan. 2006. Okay, so that's an exaggeration. I wasn't born in 2006, but that was the first time I can remember playing a Sonic game, and you guessed it, it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Little old me loved running around at the speed of sound, jumping and homing attacking robots, dying over and over again on aquatic base for some reason because I don't understand how to play as Tails. You know, all the stuff a kid would love. Despite that game's heavy amount of criticism, I love it. I love its gameplay, I love its music, I love its story, I love it all, and I would kill for a true remaster of it. Ever since then, my parents would buy me almost every Sonic game under the sun. Some of the old ones like Sonic Adventure, or the newest releases on the Wii consoles like Black Knight and Lost World. I've got to a point now where last year, I'd completed every single mainline Sonic game, and I loved it. Maybe it's because despite being the same series, each game tends to play differently from each other with just a few core similarities. Going fast and feeling good while doing it. They all have that real point of spectacle, whether you're fighting the Knights of the Round Table or freeing aliens from an interstellar amusement park. It always has such a high level immersion and spectacle. In fact, the high speed level of gameplay very much impacted my interest in other games. I don't get nearly as much enjoyment out of Mario as others do, since I'm used to going fast, and I sucked at shooters for the longest time, because I have about the same patience as a dog with a bone. In fact, that high-speed gameplay is probably a big source of my lack of patience in general, but more on that later. I guess the biggest thing was that all these games were fun. Sure, some were broken, some had problems, others had bigger problems, but they all felt fun at their core, at least to a little child me. Overall, Sonic just had this sort of coolness over other franchises at the time. It was a little edgy, had more flair, more abstract design, making it more of a draw for me as a kid. When you play these games, you feel like these areas are actually alive. You feel like these conflicts you go through are real, and the final bosses of these games are so truly incredible at paying off everything you've built up over the course of the game. Now, sadly, that sort of design philosophy did shift around 2010. Sega wanted Sonic to become more child-friendly, so they kinda stopped including as much serious stuff in their stories and characters in an attempt to entice more players into jumping in.
Anyway, it seems an evil man, and you might know him, who they call Baldy Nosehair.
Baldy Nosehair? That's the best thing I've heard all day!
Sonic himself was still incredibly similar, but he lost a bit of his edge to become more, I guess the word is goofy? It was a shame, but I understand why Sega went this way for a bit, until it was proven that it really wasn't working, and thankfully, they have finally gone back to more serious storytelling and themes with the most recent game in the series, Sonic Frontiers. Gameplay was still similar to how it used to be though, with a huge emphasis on going fast and looking cool while doing it. Going fast became an even bigger selling point during this time as the boost was added to the majority of games from this point onward, making Sonic, well, boost at super fast speeds. Now, looking back at all these games and my life in general, I start to spot a few things. Things little old me never consciously digested, but live on now through the back of my mind. Life lessons. That's right. Now, if you're a Sonic fan like me, you may know what I'm talking about. But in case you don't, one of the many things that set Sonic out from its competition is usually the story, or at least it was during the 2000s specifically. Sonic the Hedgehog games weren't made to just be games, they were made to be experiences. So much so that they were all made with compelling stories, characters, and music to tie them all together. Each Sonic game tends to have a running theme throughout it, which, in the end, has a lesson that can be learned, one that can be very easily translated into real life and the real world. Now, this will be much easier to understand if you're a Sonic fan, even if you didn't understand it until now. If you take just a second to think about the stories of the games, then you'll get what I'm talking about. But for the few presumably non-Sonic fans watching, let me go through an example or two. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. These stories are about two characters, Chaos and Shadow, who after having their loved ones killed by power-hungry people, return to the present with a vengeance. They return wanting to destroy everything because of what happened to them. Over the course of the games, they realize that actually, those people that were killed wouldn't want them to punish the world for something a few select people did. That both Chaos and Shadow had to move on from their past. They couldn't let it hold them back from living a better life. It helped them realize that the people they loved would have wanted them to save life, not take it. Sonic and the Black Knight. This story is all about Sonic having to defeat a friend of his who is grieving over the fact that everything good comes to an end. Despite their good intentions, Sonic had to stop them from using dark magic to create an eternal world, one where nothing ever dies because...
What good is a world that goes on forever?
Now, I could go on and on about every single game story, but that would take a million years and I think you get the point by now. These games' stories all provide life lessons. Don't let your past consume you, all good things come to an end, etc. And as such, these stories contain amazing characters and moments. The best example being Sonic himself. Sonic is a real-life role model. Now, let's stop for a minute. I know what you're saying. A real-life role model? How about you go outside? And well, that's a little hurtful but fair, I haven't seen the sun in days, but that's not the point here. In order to be in these stories, Sonic himself has to be a very strong and compelling character. He has to have a very human side to him. He can't be perfect, he has to have flaws, but he also has to still be a hero. All these things make him a perfect role model. I really can't tell you why I made an initial connection to Sonic. I grew up playing both Mario and Sonic, and for some reason Sonic always stood out to me. You're probably saying, ooh, it's probably the colour. No, my favourite colour was red. Or, ooh, it's probably the console. No, I mainly played Nintendo. Yeah, there really is no clear indication as to why back then I gravitated towards it, but boy has it made me who I am today. And I mean that wholeheartedly. The most realistic reason I think I liked Sonic was because he was cool. A very ironic fact looking at it nowadays, but Sonic was always created to be a sort of anti-Mario. He was created to do all the things Mario would never dare to do. He was snarky, hot-headed, trash-talked, but he was still a hero, put others before himself, did whatever he had to do to save the world and the people within it. Sonic has a real personality. He has flaws and imperfections. He makes mistakes despite having the best intentions. Sonic, ironically enough, is more human than any other video game characters that are aimed for kids. And no, that isn't an insult aimed at Mario, it was just never his demographic. Mario is always happy, yahooing all over the place, saving the princess and all that, and that is completely okay. I mean, there's a reason he's more successful than Sonic, let's be honest, but that sense of real personality and humanity is what sets Sonic out from the rest. Above all else, Sonic always does one thing. What he thinks is right. He has a very strong moral compass, and even when he himself is in great pain, he stays strong. He doesn't give up. Even when all the odds are against him, when he could so easily turn the other way, he doesn't allow himself to.
Your efforts are futile.
No way! Sonic! Caliber!
fool. Knight must always be on his guard.
No!
You've done enough.
No, Sonic! There is no point in continuing! A knight never flees his foe, right? Ah! You fool! This no longer has anything to do with chivalry! Get out of there! Run! It was never about chivalry for me. I just gotta do what I've gotta do. That's all.
He keeps on running. Sonic keeps his energy high. He barely ever doubts himself. He's always upbeat, cheering others on.
Whoa, what? Where do you think you're off to all by yourself? What? But my memory is back now, and, well, from here on out, it's my responsibility, so, I mean, there's no reason for you to come along, so I should just... Do I need a reason to want to help out a friend?
Sonic is a beacon of hope. He reminds everyone to keep on hoping. He reminds everyone that things are going to be okay, that they are going to work out. And sure, he fails. Sometimes very badly, but he does not stop until he does what is right. Now tell me that description isn't peak role model material. Sonic was made to be a character we aspire to be. That is his purpose.
Sonic? Sonic, wait! I can't run that fast.
Don't worry. Just raise your head and run. Feels great, doesn't it?
Yes, I've never run so fast before.
Nothing starts until you take action. If you have time to worry, then run.
I have picked up a lot of traits from Sonic. If you know me personally after those descriptions, you'll probably see it. I'm very hopeful, I care a lot, have a strong moral compass, etc. But just like him, I have my imperfections. I make mistakes, and that's okay. Everyone does. Even he is an example of that. And at the end of the day, what matters is that when all is said and done, we do what we know in our hearts is right. That is what the character of Sonic the Hedgehog is all about. And it's one of the many reasons I love Sonic. Sonic isn't the only character in the franchise, and in fact, without the amazing cast of characters he does have, Sonic would be a shell of who he is today. Hell, there's even proof of that if you look at the 2000s when Sega basically Thanos snapped the majority of the characters, leaving just Sonic, Tails, and Eggman to spearhead the games. All these amazing characters have real personality and charm just like Sonic, but they are people more like us, with a ton of imperfections and battles they have to face. So, let's go through a few of the key ones here. First of all would have to be Tails, Sonic's Luigi. Ironically enough, not the second most liked character in the franchise, but we'll get to him in a minute. Tails is like a younger brother to Sonic. He admires him a lot, wants to be like him, but just doesn't have the confidence to. He doesn't believe in himself. And I feel like that resonates with a lot of people at home. The other two I want to talk about are what I consider to be the trio of Sonic the Hedgehog. And no, I'm not talking about Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. I'm talking about Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. The trio of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Now, obviously, there's some bias here. I grew up with 06, and well, that makes these guys the big trio to me. Since they're all main characters in the game, they have character arcs just like Sonic. Shadow, after being held back by his past his entire life, is slowly learning to move forward. going so far as to work with the people who years ago were responsible for the death of his loved one, because he knows working with them is the best way to help the world. Shadow learns through the main villain that actually in the future, the world will turn on him. They will use their fear of him and what he can do to imprison him until the end of time.
Why are you here? Did you ruin this world?
The answer is yes and no. Perhaps it's better to show you. Yes, that's you. After the world was devastated by Iblis's flames, what do you think happened? A search for the guilty. Who did this, you may ask? Humanity wasn't just jealous of your power. They feared it. They used this incident as an excuse to hunt you down. Come with me, Shadow. Let us punish this foolish world of humanity. It's only fair to give back what was intended for you. You have every right to want justice.
This information dawns on Shadow for the course of the game, creating friction between his friends, making him question his whole purpose in the first place, until eventually he realizes that much like Sonic, he has to live in the present. He can't let the past hold him down, or the potential future force him into submission.
You must realize now that you cannot hope to stop me with your limited power.
So you say.
It's futile. The world will betray you. Why fight at all? Why risk your life for those who will persecute you later?
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
That clip right there is one of the rawest video game cutscenes of all time. It is Shadow's defining moment. He won't let the past hold him back anymore. He won't let the potential future decide who he is. He gets to decide who he is. Then we move on to Silver, a hedgehog from the future who lives in a destroyed world yet still remains an optimist at heart. He's manipulated by the main villain into thinking in order to save his future, he has to go back in time and kill Sonic. Now, despite everything, Silver doubts himself. He doubts if it's right to take one life in an attempt to save the future. Is it the right thing to do? All of this happens while we get to see more of Silver's personality. Despite everything, Silver is like a child at heart. He never got to have the things other children did, as he was virtually alone and rushed into action, stopping a monster from completely consuming his already broken future. All Silver has is Blaze, a wise, reserved hero without the heart of gold that Silver has, without the optimism Silver has. Blaze is telling Silver that he has to kill Sonic. Even if it has the slightest chance to save the future, he has to do it. Blaze is somehow Silver's parental figure, sister, and best friend. This builds to Silver's ending, in which after finding out Sonic is actually the hero in all this, goes back to his future in an attempt to seal the monster in himself using the Chaos Emeralds. But for some reason, Silver can't do it. He vents in frustration about how it should be working but isn't. He's failing. He isn't good enough. Until someone else steps in.
No! Why won't it accept me as the vessel? Blaze!
I'll take Iblis. Don't worry. My soul is already alit with flames. I will be accepted. use your chaos control to stop time, then seal us into a different dimension.
No, I can't do that to you.
Didn't we already go through this? We agreed to save the world at any price.
I can't. I wouldn't know what to do without you. You fought alongside me to save the world. You're my friend, right?
You're still so naive. But I've always liked that about you.
Flames!
Good luck, Silver.
Silver has to say goodbye to the only thing he ever loved, forever consumed by the guilt that he wasn't good enough to be taken instead. Then we get to the end of the game story. Sonic is dead. Yeah, really. He got stabbed in the chest by the villain, and then the villain tears the world apart. This sends all the remaining heroes to the end of time, where they see Sonic, the beacon of hope, the hero, lifeless. Without Sonic, what could the heroes do? Until someone steps up. Silver becomes the beacon of hope. Despite everything, he remains optimistic. He keeps his heart of gold. He reminds everyone it isn't over yet, and together they can all use the Chaos Emeralds to bring back Sonic. And Sonic, Shadow and Silver, each embodying a different division of time, the present, past and future, defeat the God of Time. How perfect is that? Shadow, at being constantly held back by his past, finally overcomes it and becomes the embodiment of the past. Sonic, a hero constantly living life in the present, running headfirst into each obstacle as it reaches him, becomes the embodiment of the present. And Silver, the optimist who despite losing everything and having no future, keeps his heart of gold and becomes the embodiment of the future. A lesson to never give up, never lose yourself, never lose hope, no matter what. That message lives on through me every day of my life, and I have 3 fictional hedgehogs to thank for that. The story then reaches its end when Sonic and his friend Elise are given the option to stop the main villain from ever being created, therefore making it so the events of the game would never have taken place. Elise starts to cry. Sonic over the course of the game had taught her so much, showed her how to live, how to have fun, how to be happy. And all it takes is one line from Sonic to remind Elise what she has to do.
To tell the truth, I don't care what happens to the world.
Elise, just smile.
Like I said earlier, Sonic's character is perfect. Despite the fact he knows he will lose a close friendship and that it will hurt him, he doesn't show it. He does what he knows is right, what he has to do. He reminds Elise to smile, keep smiling, even when he's gone. I guess this is on to one of the biggest points of the video, Sonic's reputation. It has been the weirdest roller coaster. Like I said earlier, Sonic was created to be the cool Mario. He was meant to be trendy, a little edgy, and over time as people grew older and generations matured, the way he catered to his audience had to change as well. This meant Sonic was at this weird point. He was too young to cater to his old now adult fans, and too old to appeal to young kids. So Sega decided to make him more and more mature. They aged him up, so instead of being a young teen like he used to be, he was more of a young adult, meaning he could become an older brother figure to younger players and grow to be a good friend of the older players. This did wonders for people born in the 2000s, because he sort of aged with us. He was like a slightly older brother. We had more childish fun when we were younger, but eventually we grew older and started to learn more about life. All of this, while it made Sonic an incredibly divided figure among the majority, made him a way better character. This allowed for Sonic to become more of an inspiration, a true guiding hand. He became more wise, giving advice like this.
Merlina, every world has its end. I know that's kind of sad, but that's why we gotta live life to the fullest in the time we have. At least, that's what I figure.
Unlike most video game characters that have been around for 30 plus years, Sonic has grown and changed with time, just like the people who played the games. Due to this, he at times has lost part of his fanbase, but just because that may happen, won't take away from all of the amazing moments those people will have had with the character. Now, I'll admit, I'm not a huge fan about the changes over the last 10 years with Sonic. He's playing it too safe. I want to see his friends more. I want to see him struggle. Sounds weird, I know, but I want to see him tested. Which, gladly, the game seems to be doing again with Sonic Frontiers. A game in which Sonic does not stop until he saves his friends, despite the fact it is literally slowly killing him to do so. These changes over time are very, very evident in other media too. Unfortunately, especially in the Sonic movies. While I love them, and I always will love being able to see Sonic on the big screen, that Hedgehog we see on there, well, it isn't really Sonic. Since the movie's big aim is to get new children into the franchise of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic has basically gone through a whole Mario rebrand. He's now very young, pretty stupid at times, and a little obnoxious at times too. Sure, he still has that heart of gold, but he's got basically no edge or maturity, which is a shame to see. But to be fair, that doesn't take away from the feeling I got in the cinema seeing him go super for the first time. And with the post-credit reveal of Shadow in the Sonic Movie 3, I am so excited to see that character brought back after years of being virtually non-existent. Shadow also doesn't need to appeal to children, as he'll be the antagonist. He can very much be the character we've known and loved him for, and hopefully this third film can make Sonic grow into the hero he is around the time of Sonic Adventure 2 as well. Overall, I guess this is just like everything else. Things change. Just like Sonic himself said, every world has its end. That's why we've got to live life and those things to the fullest in the time we have with them. Now, there's one final big thing that I need to mention, and I'm sure people are confused I haven't mentioned it once. The music of Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog has the best music catalogue out of anything ever. I mean it. There is no single bit of media in which you can find soundtracks so diverse and impactful. Sonic music literally ticks every single box ever made. The series has done everything. The music, in fact, is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to make this video. I listen to Sonic music all the time. It's my go-to, but every single time I mention it, I'm met with weird atmospheres. And look, I get it. Not everyone's going to like what you like. That's what makes us different. But people fail to actually know what I mean when I say I love Sonic music, because Sonic music can mean such a large amount of things. Sonic the Hedgehog has got music from about every single genre under the sun, and they are all done so well. A very common constant in Sonic music is a fast rhythm, to help flow well with the gameplay of running around at the speed of sound. These songs always have so much personality in them, so much flair, they embody everything the Hedgehog himself stands for. And look, right now you're probably still thinking I sit here and listen to Green Hill Zone on repeat for ages, so I'm gonna play 4 different Sonic songs to show you the sheer difference in style.
This is my escape. I'm running through this world and I'm not looking back. 'Cause I know I can go where no one's ever gone and I'm not looking back.
All that I see now is not the same. All you remember has gone away, but you're still standing here. Welcome to the mind of a different kind, where we've been growing slowly. Think I'm on 11, but I'm on a 9. Guess you don't really know me. Running from the past is a losing game. It never brings you glory. Been down this road before, already know this story.
That's right. I just played 4 songs from Sonic the Hedgehog. You probably noticed 3 of the 4 of them include vocals, which is very common for the franchise. Sonic music isn't just instrumentals. Every single mainline game has had at least one vocal track, and believe me, some have a ton more than that. I genuinely feel like I could take on the world listening to some of these, and others can remind me that there's always a reason to carry on, and that I am good enough. So, let's go through some of the lyrics of the songs I just played.
I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me. And now I feel so free. And it's possibility.
Wow, can you get any more uplifting than that? Holy, so energetic, really pumps you up for the days or weeks ahead. You can achieve anything. You've always had the ability to. You can do anything with your life, so go do it. Now, let's look at the next one.
You have not lost a thing, whatever may come. The light of hope is always shining there in your heart. You've not lost a thing, whatever you do. Just know that your tomorrow will be waiting for you.
This reminds you to always keep hoping. Just because one thing may have happened or gone wrong doesn't mean you should lose all hope. It's still there in your heart. You just have to let it out. It's also telling you to just live in the present, because no matter what you do, tomorrow will still come. And now, for the big one.
It's time to face your fears. When your time has come and gone, I'll be the one to carry on. And you can throw me to the wolves, 'cause I am undefeatable. I'm hanging on to the other side. I won't give up till the end of me. I'm what you get when the stars align. Now they say you're just an enemy.
This song is about being strong. That you will make it through anything life throws at you, no matter what. You are undefeatable. Despite how hard it may be to hang on sometimes, you will never give up. You are one of a kind, and all these things happening to you in the grand scheme of things are just insignificant. There you go. That is just a snippet of the greatness these songs hold. And even better, these songs always coincide with the story the game is telling. Tails, who is all about not believing in himself and aspiring to be as cool as Sonic, his song is called Believe in Yourself. The main theme for Sonic Adventure 2, where Shadow is constantly being held back by his past, but learns to move past it, Live and Learn. Shadow's main theme throughout his game, in which he learns no one gets to decide who he is but himself, is called I Am All of Me. And I haven't even touched on leitmotifs. Mainly because I'm not experienced enough with music to tell you about them, so if you want to hear all about them and how awesome they are, check out the video in the description. These songs are all so incredible, in fact, that they motivated me to learn how to play the keyboard. And no, I don't mean the one you type on, I mean the instrument. These songs mean so much to me, and the feeling of being able to play them just hits differently, even if my 3 months of experience isn't enough to make them super glamorous. So here's a little melody of 2 songs. Never Turn Back, a theme of shadows about creating your own path in life, and the theme of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, His World, my favourite song of all time. So, why did I make this video? I like to be open. I wanted to try and express what I mean by loving a blue hedgehog. Sonic has very much become a laughingstock among people. Those people find it impossible that a fictional hedgehog could have such a positive impact on people's lives. Some people find loving and listening to its music an example of not maturing and hiding from the realities of life. So this video stands as both transparency and a way to show those people why so many people truly care about this franchise. So, all in all, why do I love Sonic the Hedgehog? I love it for all the things it's taught me, the energy it's given me, the mindset it's helped me grow up with. It has been a huge contributor to me being the way I am today. A reminder to continue hoping. A reminder to keep believing that things will get better. It's taught me right from wrong. It's taught me how to live free and happy. Some people may see these qualities as stupid. Some people may think I'm living a fever dream. But it doesn't matter. Sonic the Hedgehog has taught me to follow my heart, show me that there are endless possibilities, and that if I believe in myself, I can reach for the stars. So, whenever I feel lost, whenever I feel alone, I can remember the lessons this franchise has taught me. Whenever I feel chained by my past, or scared of my potential future, I can remind myself to live life in the present. No matter what life throws at me, it reminds me that I am undefeatable, and that even if life keeps on hitting me down, I will always remain who I am. We're not superheroes. We're never gonna be superheroes. We can't run at the speed of light, or fly, or punch through metal. But we can do the things that truly matter. We can do what is right. We can keep going. We can never give up. We can be a beacon of hope. We can help others. We can be good people. And a video game character has taught me all of that. So there you have it. I hope you all really enjoyed this video. If you couldn't tell, this is something I'm incredibly passionate about, and there's still so many things I could have gone through but didn't. This is probably the most heart I've put into a video of mine, so if you did enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you could show your support by liking, subscribing, or commenting. It'll tell me if there's any demand for more videos talking about this stuff, which I seriously doubt there will be. But thank you so much for watching this video in general. It means a lot that people will still watch content so off the rails compared to what I usually create. It genuinely felt so amazing to be able to write this 5,000 plus word script and make it a reality. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in another video or stream by me. See you next time, guys.